Having human papillomavirus, HPV, raises women's risk of heart disease by 20%, according to a study. The virus, carried by millions worldwide, is spread by close contact such as sexual activity, and is the most common STI in the US and UK. Some HPV strains are already known to cause cancer, but now evidence suggests they raise the risk of heart disease. Heart disease remains the #1 killer in the UK and is estimated to account for 30% of deaths globally, according to Heart UK. Researchers examined data for 63,411 Korean women aged 30 or over who did not have heart disease at the start of the study. Just over 7% of the women, who were studied from 2011 to 2016, had high-risk HPV infections, the scientists said. The results, published in the journal Circulation Research, show those women with the high-risk strains were 22% more likely to suffer heart disease. And the findings remain true when known risk factors, such as smoking, exercise levels and obesity were taken into account. Further analysis found women with HPV who were obese or suffering from metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions such as high blood pressure, excess weight around the waist and high cholesterol, had an even higher risk. Those who were obese with HPV were around 2/3 more likely to end up having heart disease. The researchers found those with metabolic syndrome were twice as likely to develop it, according to the team at Kangbuk Samsung Hospital in Seoul. Dr. Suno Ryu, co-author of the study, said further studies are required to identify specific high-risk HPV genotypes that may contribute to cardiovascular disease. He added that trials will also examine whether vaccine strategies to reduce high-risk HPV infection for cancer prevention may also help reduce cardiovascular disease. Jeremy Pearson, Associate Medical Director at the British Heart Foundation, said the research shows that HPV infection in younger Korean women is associated with a slightly higher risk of cardiovascular disease, particularly in those who are obese. This raises the possibility that HPV infection directly leads to increased cardiovascular risk through an unknown mechanism, but the results from an HPV vaccination trial would be needed to prove it. Figures suggest 80% of people will catch HPV during their life, with around 1/3 of British adults thought to be carriers. HPV, of which there are more than 100 types, a group of viruses that affect your skin and the moist membranes lining your body. Around 30 strains of HPV can affect the genitals, of which 13 are considered high risk because they can lead to cervical cancer. But HPV vaccinations rates have plummeted globally to as low as 1% in some countries due to largely unfounded fears that the jab causes disability. Last summer, the government promised to roll out the vaccines to boys against the virus, which can cause cancer of the penis and anus.